Sandfall Interactive's lead writer and voice producer Jennifer Stedberg recently gave us a ton of new information on both the in-game characters and voice actors portraying them in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. After that awesome trailer detailing a lot of the major cast and voice actors in the game, we are teased with even more surprises to come, great character points that detail their relationships with one another, and their motivations that they have in the story. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, make sure to stick around. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Jennifer starts off by saying, since revealing the game in June, we've been blown away by its reception and impressed by the eagle-eared listeners who identified the voices in the trailers. It brings us great pleasure to finally reveal our English voice cast and share some more information about our characters and their world. And if you guys haven't seen the English voice cast reveal trailer yet, they have huge names in the industry varying from the gaming space all the way to full-blown movie and show actors. We will be covering them here in this video, but if you want to see a full breakdown of everything we know so far on Expedition 33, that video will be linked in the description below. Jennifer continues by saying, we've lived and breathed these characters for the past few years, so it was surreal and an honor to witness our incredible voice cast bring them to life. By this, she's referring to writing these characters up since 2020, when Sandfall Interactive was first founded and their single-player RPG was first being alluded to. The actors were phenomenal to work with and just all-around great people. We had a lot of fun during the recording sessions. The cast beautifully conveyed the complexity of these characters, who have each been shaped by the harshness of their world. Every character has been affected by deep and constant loss, and has dealt with this in their own way. Charlie Cox, who a lot of people primarily know for his role as Daredevil, is now the voice actor for Gustav, who is the lead engineer of Expedition 33. Gustav grew up in Lumiere under the Paintress's shadow and has devoted his life to safeguarding the city. With his final year ticking away, Gustav is hell-bent on defeating the Paintress and reclaiming a future for Lumiere's children. Here we get confirmation that Gustav is a character whose time is almost up, as he's on his final year before the Paintress Thano-dusts him as well, meaning he is more than likely on the latter part of being 31 years old or on the younger side of being 32. It's about as full of a life as someone could live in this world, all things considered. And with him being confirmed as the lead engineer for the expedition, it means more than likely he will be one of the major characters for this game's story. Through the inspiration of the Windwalkers that we touch on our Everything We Know video, we know that the book touches on all of the characters in the plot and their points of view in a way that's in-depth enough to really understand every single Horde member's motivations, struggles, and morals. So I believe even though Gustav will probably be our primary protagonist, everyone else will be having their share in the spotlight as well. Next, we have Jennifer English, who a lot of people recently have caught wind of through her amazing performance of Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3. I currently am still playing through that game with Andre through an occasional livestream here and there, and I personally can confirm she is an amazingly talented voice actress from that game alone. In this story, she will be portraying Maëlle, who is a shy loner eager to escape the constraints of Lumiere. Orphaned as a child, Maëlle has always felt like an outsider. Her only connection is with Gustav, her foster brother. She is the youngest member of the expedition at 16 years old, and sees this as her chance to finally explore the world beyond. Here we learn apparently her and Gustav are orphans, which is probably a common thing to happen in a world like this with the Paintress, where they were foster siblings from the same orphanage apparently, and she never really felt like she's belonged, and seems to be the adventurous spirit of the group, who takes this not only as a challenge to help everyone by taking down the Paintress, but also leaning into her own goals of exploring the interesting world around her. After that, we also have Kyra Ryder, who is known from her recent project being The Sandman, which I'm personally not too familiar with myself. If any of you are, let me know what you thought of her in that project in the comment section down below. But on the blog post here it says, she will be portraying Lune, who is the chief researcher of the expedition. She is intensely driven in her quest to defeat the Paintress and complete the work of her parents. She feels keenly the weight of responsibility and the gravity of the stakes involved. So through this, we learn that she took up being the head of research for this expedition, just like her parents presumably were before they got dusted. Her goal seems to be to complete this research and find out a way to stop the gamage from happening. The gamage being what they call the event of getting dusted by the paintress when she writes up a new number. This was confirmed in an earlier interview with the creative director. After this, we have Shayla Nix, who I'm also not too familiar with, who is credited with her role in The Old Guard, which is a series on Netflix. In this story, she will voice Sael, a calm and cheerful warrior unfazed by the obstacles ahead. Overcoming her past has allowed her to accept the odds against them. They will do all in their power, and it will either be enough, or it won't. This character is pretty interesting, as I have a friend in real life that you can pretty much sum up to being just like this. Although not being ahead of any department has me thinking of the 4 detailed so far, and I think this character is probably one not making it to the end, but will go down swinging against anything they go up against. On that topic, I don't think the head researcher will make it either, but hopefully they find the breakthrough to their parents and their research before dying. Next, Jennifer mentions in their recent cast reveal trailer, they introduced 2 new characters than what we've seen so far in the trailers. One being Ben Starr, who played Clive in Final Fantasy XVI, who plays Verso in this game, who she describes as a dangerous stranger tracking the expedition's every move. PlayStation Blog then asked Ben how he would describe his character, and he said lost, lonely, and dangerous. And he expects players to feel every emotion imaginable as they get to know his character. For me, I take this to mean that Verso will be one of the game's main antagonists in the story, who maybe through a loss or a major plot twist or detail later revealed in the story, is someone who takes it upon himself to make sure this, if not multiple expeditions, never make it to the Paintress. And is going to be an antagonist that maybe through his own personal story and how it's revealed throughout the game, will have players' feelings on him change throughout the playthrough. By showing him doing something heinous, but then showing why he does what he does, making the player see him in an entirely new light. And finally, the last major character announced was Andy Serkis's Renor, who people would know from a plethora of film projects, from Lord of the Rings or even the Planet of the Apes series. When it comes to him, just take your pick. Renor is described as a man driven to save his family, he knows that victory demands sacrifice, and he's ready to pay the price. Honestly, from this synopsis, I don't really gather too much about him. What sacrifice could help against the gamage, and it doesn't necessarily say he's part of the expedition either. The only thing I would say is unless he just looks like it, he looks more than 33 years old. So is there a way after all to not get dusted once the gamage hits? The only thing that I could think of is what if your birthday lines up with the gamage exactly? Like, let's just say the Paintress was on 34 and you're 33 years old. And then on the day of your birthday, she writes down the new number, but now you're 34 and the number is now 33. That's the only thing I could think of besides maybe the thing Loon's parents were researching, but there's no way to know for sure until we play the game fully. Jennifer also mentions that there are 2 more major characters yet to be revealed, being played by Rich Keeble and Maxence Cazorla, which they will share more about soon. Jennifer then states developing the characters was a multi-part process, which included charting a detailed history of Lumiere and each character's family history, and thinking through how prior generations responded to the Paintress. These factors all played a role in who each character is and what they're trying to overcome. In many ways, the process of writing is the ultimate RPG. It's an extended thought experiment where we place our characters with their backstories in these particular situations, and step into their shoes. What do they do? How do they feel? How have their past experiences shaped them? And how does that influence their choices in the story today? For me in particular, hearing that they're putting this much effort into not only their characters, but the world around them and maybe even past generations of people and lineages in this world is so cool to hear about, and gives me major hopes about the fullness that these characters will have in not only their stories, but in themselves as a person in the plot. Cast and characters aren't the only new elements in this trailer. Attentive fans may have recognized new locations alongside new enemies. Golgra and the Tissuer are two fearsome adversaries who will test your reflexes in our reactive turn-based combat. We've also highlighted more traversal elements within the game. The Pictos-powered grapple allows members of the expedition to summit heights and clear gaps, increasing the speed at which you can explore the world. Developing the world, the story, and the characters has been deeply satisfying, and fun and engrossing and maddening. We are proud and excited to share the game with everyone when it releases in spring 2025. When it comes to me, I'm just getting more and more excited to just finally dive into the world that they're crafting and experience the amazing sounding characters that the story will have. Again, with the inspirations they're pulling from, the attention to detail, and the work that they're putting into their characters and the world building, I think this game truly has potential to be phenomenal once it's released in spring of 2025. And now that we have a release window, I do think that we will get a full-on release date once we hopefully get a new trailer and maybe the 2 new characters they teased earlier being revealed during the Game Awards in December. But that's enough out of me for today. Let me know what you guys think about all of this new information and what you guys theorize about the characters from the new cast reveal trailer down in the comments section below. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed or found it entertaining, make sure to scroll down and make that like button glow so we can reach our like goal of 25 likes for this video. While you're down there, consider subscribing as we'll be covering Clair Obscur Expedition 33 as updates come out, other AAA games throughout the year, hilarious content, and more. As always, your support through your viewership, liking, and subscribing is always greatly appreciated and helps me out tremendously against the enigmatic threat that is the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys next time. Peace!